Hey everyone, this is Cesar calling from QBuild. Everyone should be able to hear me okay now. We'll just give a couple more minutes for everyone to roll in and we can get started.
Sarah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Tony.
All right. Can you let me know when we're ready to go and I'll do a quick intro?
Yeah, I think we are good. I'll hand it over to you, Tony.
All right. Hello, everyone. This is Tony with ISE. I know we've got several of our customers out there attending today's session. I'm going to be very brief here. The bottom line is we've been working with QBuild and CADLink for several years. Specifically, XA really doesn't interface at all with CAD systems. Engineers don't tend to use ERP a whole lot, and maybe reluctantly so when they do. But what we want to show today is specifically the CADLink tool, so that for engineering people, as they're creating builds, routings, costing information, that kind of content, CADLink provides very good tools to take what would be traditionally considered engineering data and bring it forward so that it doesn't have to be rekeyed, and it can be brought forward right into the ERP system, specifically XA. QBuild also offers tools around the engineering change capability, or ECNs or ECXs, different engineering change functions. And Hasara, I think we're going to be covering some of that today as well. Is that right?
Yes, we'll be talking a bit about ECX Manager and some of the other products like nesting integration, etc.
Okay. With that, I will hand it over to you and we'll proceed from here. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Tony. And welcome everyone to today's CADLink exclusive session. So today we're really going to try and learn a bit about CADLink, how you can really use the software to resolve some of your issues with getting your CAD data and engineering data into your ERP and helping bridge that gap between the two systems. So without further ado, let's get into it. Few housekeeping things. As we go through the session, there is a chat box on your go-to webinar application. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to type it in that chat box and I will get to it during the webinar or towards the end of the webinar as they come up. Throughout this, I'll also be showing some polls to the audience, just asking some questions, and it's a multiple choice answer, so you can just select the answer that suits you best. So be on the lookout for that as well. And I will also be recording this session, so Tony and his team will be providing that and sharing that with all the attendees here after this call. So let's jump into it here. Firstly, quick introduction to myself. My name is Cesar Sundal. I'm one of the sales engineers here at QBuild, and I also manage our Infor XA partnership. That includes some of the channel partners like ISE. I've been with QBuild for about 2 years now, and prior to this, I have been in manufacturing roles and come from a mechanical engineering background. So I am fairly familiar with some of these manufacturing processes and really want to help make them better, and that's why I am with QBuild now. So in terms of what we're going to be talking about today, a quick agenda. I'm going to first talk a bit about QBuild. Who are we? What do we do? We'll talk a bit about CADLink. What are the benefits? What's its goal, intent, and also some challenges that we see from our customers that CADLink helps solve. We'll talk a bit about our partnership with Infor and also go into a live demonstration of CADLink. And then we'll talk a bit about the benefits and the ROI for your business with a solution like CADLink. And again, as I mentioned, we'll have a Q&A at the end, but if anyone has any questions, feel free to put it in the chat at any point and I'll get to it as soon as I can. So let's talk a bit about QBuild first. Who are we? So QBuild, we are a software development company. We're headquartered in Ontario, Canada. We specialize in integrating engineering and connecting engineering with the ERP. So you can see some of our solutions here on screen. You can see CADLink there, which is what we'll be talking and discussing about in today's webinar. But all of these solutions that you see on screen, they all have that primary goal and focus of connecting engineering with ERP. So in this case, Infor XA. So CADLink, we'll talk a bit more about that in detail today here, but looking at some of the other solutions like NestLink, this is similar to CADLink, an integration between your nesting software and Infor XA. So really, again, bridging that gap between Infor XA and your nesting software so we can automatically synchronize your inventory library, your work orders, and also automatically report back your material usage and labor usage as the jobs come up. So that's all a real-time integration, and it's happening in the background. Again, connecting shop floor production engineering with the ERP. We also have ECX, which ECX Manager, which Tony talked a bit about here. This is our web-based engineering change management solution. So what this will allow you to do is allow you to create and manage EC engineering change requests, engineering change orders, engineering change notifications, and integrate all of those directly with your Infor XA ERP. So you can pull in parts and bombs from Infor XA, create a engineering change form from there using that part and bomb in XA, and apply the changes and go through approval workflow before committing the changes to XA. So really having that control of what changes you're making in XA, and also preventing unnecessary changes or unwanted changes. Some of our other products here, like MBOM, they focus on transforming your engineering bill of material into a manufacturing ready bill of material. So sometimes when engineers design something, it's not particularly manufacturing ready. There's more components that go into it, like work instructions, those sort of items. And MBOM really helps with transforming that, so you can take your engineering BOM, add in routings, operations, materials, rearrange the bill of material as you'd like to make it ready for shop floor and production. So if you have any questions on what you see on screen here in terms of our other solutions, feel free to reach out to myself or Tony or anyone on the ISE team, and we can definitely provide more information on these. So QBuild itself has been around for over 2 decades now. We started back in 2002 from our owner, actually, at his job at that time, in a manufacturing job. He created CADLink as a simple linking tool between AutoCAD and his ERP at the time, because he was doing a lot of manual data entry and thought to himself, why should I be doing this? So that's exactly how CADLink was born, and also QBuild. And since then, we've really expanded our partnerships across all the engineering systems and the landscape. So you can see some of our engineering solutions here, or partnerships and integrations we provide here on screen. We cover all of the major ones and a lot of the minor ones as well. What you're seeing on the screen here doesn't encapsulate all of our integration partners. We have a lot more, and a lot more extensive list that you can see on our website. But quick show of hands, how many of you see well, not quick show of hands, I'm gonna do a poll here. How many of you see your system here? So I just launched a poll. You should see something on your screen there with the multiple choice, and you can select which system you're currently using. Okay, looks like a lot of Inventor and Volt here. So we're getting more and more votes coming in. Looks like no one's using SolidWorks right now. I'll leave this open for a couple more seconds here. All right. So it looks like pretty much everyone in the audience is using Inventor. There are a few SolidWorks and also a few others, but mainly Inventor or Volt, it seems like. So we do cover all of those integrations with Inventor, Volt, and all of most of the other Autodesk products as well. And on the bottom right here, you can see some of our nesting integrations. This is for NestLink. So if you are doing any sheet metal fabrication, sheet metal forming of any sort, definitely reach out and see how NestLink can help improve your process and make you more efficient. But thank you everyone for those polls. Oh, got a few more votes in here as well. Seems like a few of you are using some others as well. So that's great to see. Again, this is not covering our entire integration list. Whoops, did not mean to do that. You should be seeing my screen again here. There we go. So again, this doesn't cover all of our integration partnerships. If you don't see your name here or your software here, please go to our website, take a look. And we are always expanding our integrations every day. So if there is something you're interested in having CADLink integrate with and you don't see it on our website, please do reach out and we'll be able to help you out there. All right. Now, talking a bit about our partnership with Infor in general. So, CADLink is Infor's only certified and supported CAD integrator for the Infor ERPs, which includes XA. We're sold and supported by Infor themselves on their paper, and also by the channel partners such as ISE, Guide, Tryman, etc. And we've been integrating with Infor solutions and ERPs for over a decade now. So we've really been a long time standing partner with Infor. We've worked very closely with their team and also Tony's team here at ISE. So as he mentioned, we've been partners for quite a number of years and we are very familiar with this space. So let's dive into some of the CADLink portion here, talk a bit about CADLink and your BOM and part entry process in general. So when customers come to us, they generally come to us with a few challenges that they face when they're not using a solution like CADLink. So let's talk a bit about some of these challenges that we often see. The first one being product development. When companies and customers have a lackluster and inefficient BOM entry and part entry process into XA, we often see they struggle with product development because either they're manually entering that data in or having an efficient method to get that data into XA. This leads to longer lead times to get their products to market. Again, because if your engineering or production is struggling to get that data into XA, it's going to affect how long your product life cycles are and also your lead time to the market. Additionally, we also see delayed change notifications across different departments, again, because it takes longer for them to enter in that data and make these changes. It can be tedious. And when you're spending more time on clerical work like data entry, it means you're spending less time on actually creating products to sell and more time on tedious work that you can have automated and easily dealt with. So depending on how well our data entry goes, our product development will suffer as well as our design to manufacturing time also suffers. Another common challenge we see is product quality. Again, relating back to getting accurate data into XA by ensuring we can get that data in there efficiently and accurately, we can avoid having product quality issues like design intent loss in translation or production errors that can come about from misentries or double or triple entries. So again, this is another big issue we see where customers are using the wrong parts, for example, or wrong items simply because they've entered in a wrong part number, etc. Another big one is engineering resources. So without a solution like CADLink in place, a lot of these companies and customers are sinking a lot of time into their engineering to get this data into Infor XA. So it's really adding a lot of non-value activities to your engineering team, having them focus on clerical work and manual data entry, rather than giving them, actual engineering work like new projects or helping customers with some of the requests or custom designs, etc. So a lot of customers we see face, reduced project and design capacity that they have for the engineering team, and maybe they're not even aware of it because they're not aware of how much time the data entry is taking from their engineers and engineering team in general. And lastly is data management. This is something that sometimes IT really complains about, and engineering as well, where when you have a kind of inefficient data entry process or bomb and item entry process, there can cause a lot of issues with data management, because essentially you're upkeeping two systems: your engineering system, which is your CAD, PDM, or PLM, so Inventor or Volt, and then you also have to upkeep your Infor XA. And Infor XA is only good, and also Inventor are only as good as the data that you feed it. So it's important that we have, accurate data in both systems, and also making sure that both systems in sync, so we don't have any discrepancies or cause any downstream confusion due to these discrepant data sets or inaccurate data caused by double or triple data entries by manually entering them. So you can start to see some of the challenges we have with, without a solution like CADLink in place. There's a lot of areas for improvement here, a lot of areas that we have potential errors, and a lot of areas that we can increase the efficiency of our engineering team and our company overall here. So before I move on here, I want to quickly just launch another poll to everyone. Just want to get a gauge of how many people run into challenges like these, and if so, what challenges are they that you commonly run into? So give a few minutes for that. And we got some votes coming in already. Looks like a lot of you are having issues with your engineering resources being taken up, product development issues also coming in here. You having data management issues. Leave it open for a few more seconds here. Okay, a lot more data management issues coming in. Okay. All right, I'm going to close this poll now. It might just kick me out of that again, but no worries. There we go. So yeah, it looks like a lot of you are having struggles with number one is the data management issues. That's the kind of poll winner here. And in second place is the engineering resources being taken up by clerical work. So these are really big issues that we commonly run into, and engineering and IT will often complain about. So today we'll show you how we can really improve those processes, fill up those inefficiencies, and really take your engineering team and company to the next level with CADLink. So thank you all for those poll answers here. We're gonna now go into some of the alternatives that we see. So when customers come to us with these challenges that I was describing earlier, it's usually as a result of using two different types of bomb entry processes. There's the first one, which is brute force, and second is blind push. So brute force is just simply manually entering that data, brute forcing it into the ERP, and having either engineering or a dedicated resource to doing that task. Now, with both of these alternatives, whether it's brute force or blind push, they both have their downfalls and disadvantages or challenges that we see when customers describe these as well. So let's talk a bit about these. Starting off with brute force. Number one, brute force is very, very error prone, because again, you're having your your engineering team or individuals entering in that data manually. They're only human, so they can make mistakes. They can have misentries or double or triple enter data into Infor XA. And again, as I was mentioning, Infor XA and ERPs in general are only as good as the data that you feed it. So it's important that we have that data accurate. Secondly, it's very time consuming. I'm sure that anyone on this this call today who does manual data entry, I'm sure you can attest to this, especially when you have more complex and larger bills of materials because of the nature of your business and products. It can take a lot of time to actually create all of these parts and BOMs in Infor XA. There's a lot of information and data that ties in together in Infor XA. And it takes a lot of time to really account for all of that and put it into XA. So that's not something we want to be spending our time on again. It's very inefficient and it can be easily curved or resolved by using an alternative like CADLink. And lastly, brute force is just plain boring. No one wants to be doing manual data entry all day or spending a large portion of their time on manual data entry. Doing clerical work is not something that is very stimulating or not something that especially engineers like to do. Given the nature of their job and their background, they want to be doing something a bit more challenging. So when something gets boring and tedious, we often tend to make more mistakes as a human because we're not paying as close attention. It's not something that interests us. So just having that boring aspect of this brute force method can really play an impact into our XA data and also our overall productivity as a company. So you can start to see some of the issues with some of these alternatives. Now, the second alternative that we see is blind push. So blind push is, first of all, blind push, when I say blind push, it's using a kind of import-export method. So maybe exporting your inventor file or your CAD drawing to an Excel document and then importing, massaging it, getting prepared for XA to import it, and then importing into XA following their format there. So this is slightly faster than brute force because, again, you're not manually entering that data in. You're creating some of that data in XA based off of your CAD data, but it does come with its own challenges that a lot of our customers describe to us. Number one being it requires a lot of data massaging. So oftentimes these ERPs like XA, they have a certain format that they accept these imports in, and the CAD system or PDM or PLM system also has a certain format that they export that data in. So to align those two formats, it can take some time and it takes a lot of data massaging. Not only that, once you have that data ready, it is a blind push per se. You're not getting that validation to make sure that all the data follows your XA rules and restrictions. You're not sure if that data is actually what is accurate in XA. So there's a lot of question marks there. And oftentimes we hear customers, they'll import something into XA and then they realize down the line some value is wrong or material is wrong, and they'll have to go back in and massage that data. So correct that data and really look through what they pushed. And sometimes it can come, they only realize that later downstream, which can be detrimental for wrong bills or late shipments, etc. Next, there's no bidirectional connection. So you're only able to push that data from your CAD, PDM, or PLM system to Infor XA. You're not able to take some of that XA data and input it into your engineering data as well. So because of that lack of bidirectionality, you still have that upkeep issue of having to upkeep two systems separately. So both your engineering system and also Infor XA, which again is time taken and redundant time that we can better use elsewhere. And lastly, it's often reliant on a single person. Either it's a specific individual with a lot of our customers or maybe IT that's responsible for it. This means that if that individual is on vacation or gone for some time, it can be very difficult for customers to get their data into XA because the person who's knowledgeable on that process is no longer there. So it can lead to issues with delays, late shipments, and just overall frustration, which can easily be avoided again by having a better solution in place like CADLink. So you can see, although blind push is slightly more feasible than brute force, there's still a lot of issues and problems that come with it. And overall, both of these alternatives have a lot of issues and challenges that can easily be curbed or resolved by using a more automated system. And another poll here, I just want to get a feel for what BOM entry process you are currently using. So you should see another poll on your screen here. So let me know which one you and your company is currently using. Okay, so far, mainly just manual data entry. Got some blind pushes in the audience as well. But still, brute force seems to be taking the lead here. We'll leave this open for a few more seconds here. All right, so yeah, looks like most of the audience is doing brute force, so a manual data entry method of some sort, and then a smaller portion of the audience is doing blind push. Another alternative that we may see is homebrew systems. So homebrew systems, they have their own challenges, which kind of overlap with blind push, which is reliant on a single person. There's a lot of upkeep in terms of software compatibility that has to be managed as well. And there's a whole set of issues that come with that with homebrew systems. And oftentimes we see customers looking to replace their homebrew system with a solution like CADLink simply because of the scalability aspect of it as well. All right, so let's close this poll out and we're gonna move on here. So just summarizing some of the pain points that were brought up for both of these alternative methods. So manual entry, again, it's very human error prone. It's also not very time or resource effective. And then export, import, or blind push methods, there's no validation. So you're really going in blind when pushing that data. You're not sure if XA will reject it or if there's any data inaccuracies there. And also it's not bidirectional, so you're not able to upkeep or synchronize your engineering system with your ERP XA. So all in all, this leads to, with our customers, we often hear them say that this leads to slow engineering overall, wrong build situations, wrong inventory, shop errors, shop floor confusion, and overall frustration throughout production, purchasing, and the rest of the company. Now, excuse me, I've been mentioning that CADLink can help curb some of these issues. So let's talk a bit about what exactly CADLink is and what it does. So Tony gave a brief introduction there to it. CADLink is a software tool that will automatically synchronize your items and bills of materials between XA directly from your engineering data, whether that's your CAD, PDM, or PLM system. So how it's going to work is it's going to plug right into your engineering system here. So your CAD system, PDM, or PLM system, it's typically going to be an add-in to that system. And user can launch CADLink. What it's going to do, it's going to then check your XA database or ERP for the parts and assemblies that you're trying to push into XA, see if those parts and assemblies already exist. And it's going to do a live data comparison between the two systems. And at that point, you'll be able to synchronize not only XA, but also push some of that information and data back into your engineering system. Again, making sure that we're upkeeping both systems in an efficient manner, and also preventing any data discrepancies overall. So this is great to talk about, but I'm sure you want to see it in action here. So let's jump into a demo. And I'm going to quickly pause sharing my screen here, jump into my demo environment, and then reshare my screen. I think I finally figured it out there. Sorry about that, but you should be seeing my SolidWorks screen here. So I'm going to pretend that I'm a design engineer at ABC company, and I've just finished making some design changes to this model here in SolidWorks, and what you were seeing is a 4-digit print head. So how this works is we feed some wire through this print head here, and these heating cartridges are going to heat up these 4 digits, the print head here, and it's going to print or stamp a serial number onto the wire as it passes through. And I've received some feedback from my customer maybe that the numbers are a bit blurry, so I've added in some additional heating cartridges to this model to help account for that. But now that I've updated this model in SolidWorks, I need to then go into XA and update the bill of material and the parts and the operations and routings in general there as well, to make sure that shop floor and production also have what they need to actually build the product and ship it out to the customer. So instead of doing a manual data entry process or exporting this to Excel and then importing into XA and massaging it, I'm going to use CADLink to do that for me. So as I mentioned, CADLink is an add-in to your engineering system. So in order to launch CADLink, I would never have to leave my SolidWorks machine or SolidWorks application or CAD application. I can simply launch it from within the engineering system. Now at this point, CADLink is reading my SolidWorks data, checking all of the BOM structure, the parts, the assemblies, sub-assemblies, and checking if those also exist in XA. So does that bill of material exist? Do those parts exist, or those items? And it's going to grab those two sets of data, do a live data comparison between the two sets, and display them to the user in an interface that we're seeing on screen here. So what you're seeing now is a CADLink interface, and at this point, no changes have been committed to my XA environment yet. This interface is really the opportunity, or the in-between step, where I have the opportunity to verify all of this data as I would like to. And if I'd like to make some changes, I definitely can. Or if I think the data is already good, I can simply go ahead and hit save to commit the changes right away. But let's go through this interface and what exactly is encompassed with it, what features you have, and the overall workflow. So you notice two sections, main sections, the BOM grid here, which is where you see your bill of material and spending most of your time. Then you also have a side panel here, which you can navigate for different options and features. With the BOM grid here, you'll notice CADLink is maintaining my overall BOM structure from what I had in SolidWorks. You'll also notice that there's a lot of colored highlights going on here. And these colored highlights are actually the result of that live data comparison CADLink has made between my SolidWorks data and what I have in XA currently. So each of these colored highlights or colors that you see here represent something different. It's CADLink trying to tell me what is going on with that part or the item, if there's any discrepancies, what parts are new, what parts are will be removed. It's all presented to me at a quick glance by these colored highlights. So I don't need to really digest this BOM to understand, get a general understanding of what is happening. I can simply just take a look at these colored highlights and get an understanding that way. Let's go through what each of these colored highlights actually mean. So firstly, You notice any white colored highlighted parts? Sorry, my headset died there. But you'll notice any white color highlight parts or fields is CADLink telling you that the item already exists in XA. So this item already exists. I've looked for this, CADLink found this part number in SOLIDWORKS. It's looked for it in my XA parts list, and it's found it already exists. There's a record for it there. And any white color highlighted fields like the description, unit of measure, it's CADLink telling you that the data is already in sync between my two systems, XA and my engineering system. So when I go to hit save, no changes will be made to these white highlighted parts or items. Next, you'll notice these green colored highlighted items here, and we have quite a few of them. About 50% of this BOM is highlighted green, and green highlighted items are items that CADLink found in SOLIDWORKS in my model there, but did not find in XA. So it doesn't exist in my XA parts list yet, and it doesn't exist in this this bill material. So these are all new parts that maybe I would have to previously manually create or import using a blind push method. But with CADLink, when I go to hit save, CADLink will automatically create all of these green highlighted parts for me in my XA database. So it's firstly going to add that item to my parts list, and then also add the specified quantity here of this item to the bill of material, all within just a click of a button. So you can start to see how much time we're saving by using CADLink, and also how it's automating a lot of that process because it's pulling this data directly from SOLIDWORKS, and then it's automatically pushing this data into XA at the appropriate fields. So what previously may have taken me, 30 minutes or so to create all of these items and add it to this bill of material is now only taking me a matter of seconds and a click of a button to do so. Next, you'll notice these yellow highlighted items, and these are items that were, CADLink highlighting any field level discrepancies. Whether that yellow color highlight is my revision, part description, quantity, or any of my other fields here, these are, again, field level discrepancies. And I can right click on it to see what the discrepancy is. So here CADLink's telling my description has a discrepancy. I can right click on it and I can see in SOLIDWORKS here I have a 4-digit attached to the end, but in XA I don't have that 4 in the description, and that's why it's recognizing that discrepancy. I can see what I'm currently using CADLink. It looks like we're currently using our XA description, but let's say I wanted to make it more accurate. I want to use my SOLIDWORKS description. I can simply select so, and CADLink will reflect that in the interface here. I can also alternatively type in, further modify this description if I'd like to. Sorry, my keyboard. So I can further modify this description if I'd like to as well. And I can also type in my own brand new description if I'd like to as well, if none of those other descriptions fit. And now when I go to hit save, CADLink will not only update this in XA for that part record and the BOM, but it'll also have the ability to write this back to my SOLIDWORKS data or my engineering data to make sure that it's updated there as well. So this is where some of that bidirectionality features can really be useful, is helping upkeep both systems and making sure both systems are up to date and in sync in a very efficient manner. Now with the quantity, I can right click on it to see the discrepancy as well, similar to the description or any of these other fields. But if I go to click on my quantity, you'll see that it's not actually updating it with the selection I've made. And that's because the quantity is always driven by our CAD documents. So if I do want to update the quantity, I'll have to go back into my CAD system, physically model that part there, and then relaunch CADLink. Again, just making sure that we have that data integrity and engineering integrity when we make these changes. Now, you'll notice there are some some gray highlighted parts here. And these are parts or items that were not found in my SOLIDWORKS model or my CAD model, but were found in XA. And this may be due to maybe a revision change. In this new revision for the 4-digit printhead that I made, maybe I've removed some of these parts and they're no longer needed, they're obsolete. So when I go to hit save, CADLink will automatically remove these items for me from this specific bill of material in XA. Again, making sure that what we have in XA is representative of what we have actually modeled and designed. Now, CADLink will only remove that part from your XA bill of material. CADLink will never delete parts from your parts list or parts records. But let's say I want to keep these items or one of these items into, in XA. I still want to keep my advanced spring stud black. I can convert it to what CADLink calls a manual part. And by doing so, you see the color highlighting changing to blue, indicating that it's now a manual part. And now when I go to hit save, it'll no longer be removed from my XA bill of material. And CADLink will remember that I previously set this up as a manual part. So when I go to relaunch CADLink on this BOM, it will still be highlighted blue until I, as the user, tell it that I no longer want to consider it as a manual part. The manual part feature can also be used to add in parts to your XA bill of material without having to, model it in SOLIDWORKS or include it in your CAD, PDM, or PLM designs. And this is especially useful for consumable items, for example, like paint, glue, fasteners, bolts, hardware, packaging, anything that you wouldn't necessarily model in your engineering systems, but you do need in XA for purchasing or manufacturing reasons. So here, let's say I need to add, some bolts and some hardware into here. I can add in a new empty row, and here I'm now searching my entire Infor XA parts list for the part I'd like to add. So I'm going to look for some bolts that I have here in my parts list, and I can see I have quite a few bolts. Let's say I want this one here, this flat bolt. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Now CADLink is going to pull in the data that I have in XA for these, and then input it into the CAD BOM here. And it's auto-populating all of my other information based out of what I have in XA. Now, just like that, I have a new item in my XA bill of material without me having to model it or include it in my engineering system or data. So that's the end of the code highlights there. Moving further to the right, you'll notice we have some additional fields and columns here. As you may or may not know, when you go to create a part in XA or item in XA, there's a lot more information that goes into it typically than what you typically find in your engineering data, such as vendor information, product code information, unit of measures, part classes, different types of data like such, where most of the time our customers don't have that that data already outlined in their engineering data. But they're still required to create new items in XA, so we still need to fill them out. So CADLink actually does account for that, and you'll see these additional columns here for some of that ERP specific information, where I'm able to go in here and specify or change this information as I'd like. So maybe it's measured in pieces and it's actually a mold. I can change all that here directly in CADLink, or if I have it in my engineering data, I can also directly pull that in from my engineering system as well. And these dropdowns that I'm seeing, or any dropdowns in CADLink, they're all coming from my XA database. It's not something that I'm separately maintaining. As soon as I add a new unit of measure or product code, for example, it's going to reflect in CADLink as well. Moving further to the right, we also have some sections or columns to handle raw materials. So here I can pull in raw material information directly from my engineering system, or again, I can search my XA parts list for the raw material I like to add. So here I can find all the steel I have available, and let's say I want to use maybe some of this cold roll bar steel. And maybe I need 1 bar. So now I also have a raw material assigned as well. And if I had existing raw materials, I can also manage them and see what I have. So if I want to remove it, I definitely can. So that is the BOM grid there. I'm going to try and get through the rest of this as soon as I can. With the side panel, we have some additional information such as operations. So you are able to set up operations or routings through CADLink as well, or manage existing ones. So if I already had existing operations in XA for some of these sub-assemblies or assembly, I can see them here in the side panel and manage them as I wish through here as well. So add in new ones or remove any of the existing ones. But looks like I have no operations or routings yet. So I'm going to just go ahead and create a few. And maybe this is something we do in-house and I need to saw some of it. I can enter in some of this information, and CADLink can also auto-populate most of this information based on what I have in XA if I'd like to as well. So now I have a new operation or routing assigned to this model, and I can assign them to each child on where they should start in the sequence. So I think all of these should start from operation sequence 10 here. Now, just like that, I have routings assigned to this subassembly in CADLink and also in XA as well. So much faster, much quicker, and a much cleaner process overall. Next is the BOM changes tab. This is a summary report of all of the changes CADLink will be making in XA when I hit the save button. So it's telling me, giving me some notes of what's going to happen, and it's giving me some comparison of the data between my CAD system or engineering system and XA. I can also double click on the items here to highlight them in the BOM grid. So if I want to see a specific item that's being updated or changed, I can do so here. I can export this BOM changes to an Excel or PDF along with the BOM grid. I can also export that to Excel. So a lot of our customers like to use this to communicate changes with other departments that are should be in the know of what's being updated in XA, or attaching it to an ECN process of sorts. Next is the CAD data tab. This is a read-only tab where you're able to see your CAD, PDM, or PLM properties and metadata. So just helping streamline that process a lot more. And lastly, we have the messages tab, which is arguably one of the most important tabs here. So one of the disadvantages I mentioned for blind push is the lack of data validation. And CADLink does have this feature where it is, able to validate all of your data based on the rules and restrictions you have in XA. So here I can see I have a message here, and if I do have any messages here, which are messages for data validation issues, CADLink will actually gray out and disable the save button. Simply because even if we did want to save, XA itself would not accept the format that this data is in. So I can click on the message to highlight it in the BOM grid, and I can see my description is empty here, and I can type in a description to resolve it. And my message is now resolved, and my save button is re-enabled here. But let's say I didn't know, so I can't actually keep it empty, but let's say I didn't know what my description was, and I still want to save some of these other parts. I'm just going to add in a new, so I have a bunch of issues here with messages and my save button is disabled, sorry. But I still want to save the rest of this data. I didn't want to resolve that issue right now. I can simply use the save checkbox column to skip parts and pick and choose which parts I want to push to XA. So by skipping the part, I'm temporarily working around the message and re-enabling the save button. I can also use this save checkbox to push partial BOMs or longer lead time items into XA as well. So that brings me to the end of the CADLink demo here. Hopefully this gave you a bit of insight onto how CADLink works, what the overall workflow looks like, and how it can fit into your process and help make it more efficient as well. After this point, the next step would be to hit save, which would then initiate the updating of these items and BOMs in XA, and also giving me the option to update that in in my SolidWorks system as well. So let's jump back into the presentation here. And I'm going to just skip through some of these slides just in the interest of time. So this just talks about some of the features that we were seeing in CADLink. It's a direct link to XA, so pulling in that data directly from XA as well. In addition to our engineering system, we're able to push revision information system to not only XA, but also to our engineering system as well. And we're able to update the items and BOMs directly in XA from our CAD system or engineering system. So the goal of CADLink and the benefits of CADLink is, again, number one, to reduce the costs. We're reducing the number of non-value added engineering activities and giving your engineers time back in their day to focus on actual design work and actual project work rather than admin or clerical data entry. And since we're automating this process, we're reducing costs by eliminating double and triple entries, since we're now, again, it's an automated process and we're removing or eliminating some of the issues that double or triple entries may cause downstream. Next, it's also a big goal or benefit of CADLink is improving your accuracy. So not only your accuracy of data in XA, but also in your engineering system. By doing this, we're going to, in effect, reduce the amount of material and part scrap, improve purchasing accuracy, as they now have more accurate data to work off of, eliminate wrong bill situations, and also on-time shipments for your customers, and overall improving our company's productivity. So in terms of benefits, what does this mean for your business and company? With a solution like CADLink in place, you're gonna, high-level business perspective, engineering all the way to production is affected by a solution like CADLink. By providing, direct value to the user, if they can spend less time on data entry and have more accurate data, more clean data, this frees up their time to do more engineering and manufacturing related tasks, focus on customers, and generating more revenue for a company. And the cleaner and data and shorter process times between CAD and ERP means faster design to production process. And if you have a faster lead time, it means you can produce products at a higher efficiency rate, increasing your department value, and overall better overhead ratio. And you can get your products out the door faster to ultimately generate more revenue and make your company more efficient. So don't take my word for it. You can check us out on our website or Google to see some of our customer testimonials and reviews. We have some success stories there with some video testimonials, even some case studies where we do a study of what their businesses were like before the use of CADLink in terms of data and numbers, how long it took for them, their inaccuracies, and then also comparing that with what their process looks like in terms of data and numbers post CADLink. So how it helped them improved, what their efficiency rate, what that looked like when it went up after CADLink, etc. So this is all available in our website. Feel free to check us out there. Again, we have a lot of reviews on Google as well that attest to some of our solutions and also the success stories that our solutions provide to our customers. So that brings me to the end of today's session. If you'd like to learn more, my information's on screen here. You can also reach out to Tony or your ISE representative for more information. They can definitely provide some of that and help you get connected with QBuild and our team as well. But I was going to have some Q&A, but we're at the top of the hour here. So in interest of everyone's time, if you do have any questions, please email me directly or forward them to Tony and his team, and we'll be able to get back to you via email or schedule a session. But thank you everyone for your time today. And again, I hope you found some value in this session, and please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.